Hey, it's Puueds, and I've been playing Geometry Dash on this phone for about 10 or so years, but it can get boring. It also does get mind-numbing to play Sonic Wave over and over again. Maybe getting more of these would help. No, let's just quadruple the Sonic Wave.
We can't exactly hear sonic waves since they're out of the audible frequency range, but at least we can see them. Well, in Geometry Dash specifically. Sonic Wave by Cyclic is a pretty monumental 1.9 level in Geometry Dash's history. It was heralded as a top 1 level for a good long while, and it wasn't beat until years later in 2.1. Yet its legacy extends beyond just itself, with so many creators and teams working together to put out their own take on Sonic Wave. There was a time where the hypest projects in the community were just Sonic Wave remakes. You couldn't go one step without a showcase put on your face, and the biggest question when they were done was, who would beat them? However, when you ask people today what they think of Sonic Wave, it's just,
The Breakdropper sucks, I hate the board, and I feel like I just aged 20 years.
you think there would only be a few remakes left of Sonic Wave, like Sonic Wave Infinity by Zimnight and AP Team, or Sonic Wave Rebirth by Super 100 Funny Game, but surprisingly, there are a lot more of them, and some of them are quite interesting to talk about as they were really popular at the time that they were built, but later fell into obscurity into 2.0 or 2.1.
For today, we'll be talking about Sonic Wave and its remixes and even its sequel Cosmic Cyclone for a bit. As someone who was around the peak of its popularity back in 2.0, I can safely say that the history of it all is quite all over the place.
So where did it all begin? Sonic Wave, right? Well, we should actually start with 9 Circles, as that was the catalyst for the 80 plus remakes of Sonic Wave that was soon to come. 9 Circles is a Hell themed level by Zobros, except it reinterprets Hell decoration and goes for a neon strobing effect for its drop. At the time, it was quite mind-blowing in terms of decoration and gameplay. In decoration, if all the levels you played before looked like this, which was solid composition with a few color changes or pulses, this will come off as the most epileptic thing you've ever seen. There were attempts at epilepsy in levels back then, but none achieved the same level of polish that 9 Circles did.
I think I need to go see an optometrist.
In terms of gameplay, the Wave Game Mode was recently introduced and it demanded so much more precision, which the other game modes at the time didn't have to such an extent. Not only that, if you were really good at it, you could get accused of hacking, which some people actually were.
Cheat engine, my beloved.
Now put those two together and what you have is 9 Circles by Zobros, and a whole lot of levels inspired by it. And this is where Cyclic comes in. If you don't know him, Cyclic was a top player at the time, and much like any person in the community, would try making one himself. Sonic Wave released on June 21st, 2015, so 2 months and a bit before 2.0. It features a bright white and cyan color scheme reminiscent of his own player colors, and it's 2 minutes and a second long, which is a really long 9 Circles level for the time. It follows the same structure that 9 Circles had. Start with the cube, then the ship and ball, wave, wave mini, wave duels, and then repeat that a couple of times, and then back to cube, and then wave, and then cube again, and then wave again. It also had a UFO and ship in the middle of the wave drop, which is pretty unique for its time.
It's one of the only parts in Sonic Wave I can clear, and it's also piss easy.
The thing is, this is actually considered the old version of Sonic Wave. The reason for this weird consideration, despite it being the first level, was that it felt pretty dated even for its time, and also Cyclic was exposed for hack verifying the level, as the level showcased at the time had cuts and claims he beat it unrecorded. This was meant to rival Poltergeist by Andromeda, and, well, it would have gone past it with flying colors. It's no wonder he thought of needing to hack verify it because of the sheer difficulty of the level. In July, he decided to delete the original and pretty much remake it with a new color scheme dictated by the poll in the Geometry Dash Korean forums. Can you imagine Sonic Wave being green, yellow, or even orange?
Nope, not at all.
So really, Cyclic remade Sonic Wave before it was cool to remake Sonic Wave. If you compare both versions, there are very noticeable differences outside of the color scheme. For example, the build-up right before the drop took out arrows and stars present in the original version. This segment before the duel got slightly buffed. The wave here is more interesting with a fake out replacing the random UFO and ship segment. This intermission cube became really cool in the remake. Outside of that, the entire level got a facelift in terms of colors. The ball part is still missing above ground blocks for the Lego spikes.
I can't believe they invented levitation in 2015.
This was also hack verified too. And later on, he confessed to hacking and turned the level into a weird back on track remake called Cyclic on Track. It's quite a level with some parts being entirely original and some with very minor changes. An unearthed version was beaten 2 years later by Octorect GD, and kudos for him for sticking with it and faithfully restoring it. I played the level myself and well, it definitely is a back on track remake. He confessed in March 2016 and left his legacy as well as Sonic's Wave legacy up in the air. But when one door closes, another door opens, which leads to 30 more doors open afterwards. This is just an architectural plan. After the news, Riot and a new player Mifiwi got to work on being the first verified for Sonic Wave with various progress videos. A change in Mifiwi's version was that there was added glow in an intermission part somewhere, and the ending became GGNL. I thought that was a nickname for Mephiwi with a convoluted history as to how it ended up like that, but it's just one of Cyclic's former names. He ended up getting 98% due to one of the buffs he made, which is really devastating, but almost kinda obvious from hindsight, but still really devastating anyways. But since he made changes to the level, it did spark questions of even making more changes to it. Before Mephiwi's 98% fail, Riot asked Vibrant to remake Sonic Wave because he was just getting bored. If you had to look at epilepsy for thousands of attempts, you too would get bored. This resulted in Sonic Wave Infinity, which is a 2.0 remake that makes Sonic Wave even darker than before. Plus, the style is reminiscent of some parts in his collabs with Surf for Auridon, Codex for 48155, and Tuxedo with Mindset. Also, wasn't this demon taken from the Hell Zone by Cyclic, 1234, Ryan LC, and Koryuka? Yep, it is. But it is actually kinda cool because it is technically from a Cyclic level. This was planned to have an extension by Wabbit and Aurorus with some gameplay built by Riot himself, but I don't think it was meant to be official. It did get made at the end of the day though. Now after the fail, it gave Mephiwi even more popularity to add a punch and funny game to remake Sonic Wave into Ultra Sonic Wave, which was later renamed into Sonic Wave Rebirth. This is an effect dominant level that in my opinion is the coolest of all the major remakes. The first part with a parallax and a really well revamped block design, the ship part being extremely clean and the ball being absolutely so iconic. The drop does take a hit in readability and, well, it goes up in epilepsy, but all the other parts afterwards are still really good. This might have been the level that kickstarted reinterpreting how 9 Circles decoration should look like, because with 9 Circles levels afterwards and even today, you can trace their DNA back to this level. And then Auditory Breaker by Manic648 and Laser Blitz. I remember this having a pretty long development cycle, or that Manic648 only released like one preview and that was it. It was supposed to have 5 creators in this collab, but it only ended up being just the 2. For some reason, the sword here is not present in the current version. Laser Blitz then uploaded previews of his part around the same time, but within 5 days, and then another preview 3 years later, which is basically almost finished.
So out of these remakes, which one do you think would be finished and beaten first? Well, we can scratch the Auditory Breaker since, well, there's Sonic Wave Infinity and Sonic Wave Rebirth, so which one do you think will come up first?
Oh, the one by Cyclic got beaten by Sonics on November 25th, 2016.
Rip all the remakes.
So this would have been an awkward time for all remakes except for Sonic Wave by Cyclic and now technically Sonics. He did add a T on a logo animation and Faith, but now it's gone and there were 14 updates to this level. With what happened? He beat it on 60Hz out of all Hertz, and that is really impressive for the time, but with this verification, all the remakes would be in sort of legacy limbo. Well, actually the remakes would have been just fine. Despite having the same gameplay outside of that intermission cube sometimes, they're all visually distinct enough to have their own experience while playing. When you put them together, they definitely do not feel the same. The issue wasn't whether they should come out, instead the issue was on when these would actually come out. This was basically the top one at the time after all.
However, if all the remakes were made redundant, at least we would have Sonic Slate by Alteria. But what if I told you there were more remakes around this time? Like 10 out of 80 today.
Sonic Wave Deluxe by Tosh Deluxe and Rustam is an easier rendition of the original Sonic Wave, and by easier I mean some parts are nerfed and some are buffed. It's clear that it was inspired by Sonic Wave Infinity, but it has its own charm, particularly in the non-wave parts. The amount of air decoration what was used is quite early Rustam. The 2 intermission cube parts are really the most unique, and I like the space part here. He also beat this on 50Hz, and I remember how weird it was to have 50Hz as a frequently used Hertz rate. I wasn't even on that at one point. There's also a robot part.
So, what are you cosplaying as? The robot from Sonic Wave Deluxe?
Sonic Wave Destroyer by Wolfen, Medius and more is a nice looking remake that's very Manix and Laser Blitz style. This was considered to be an old impossible level up until June 9th, 2024, which the level was verified by HSW. Looking at the gameplay, yeah, I can see why people considered this impossible. If Sonic Wave was level 1 by Crispy Dash, does this count as a remake? I guess, it does technically count. And it's also funny if we do. This level puts forth a hypothetical, the hypothetical being what if Sonic Wave was the first level in Geometry Dash? It's insane difficulty. This level is quite cool in terms of accessibility. It takes out a lot of the brutal bullcrap that comes with Sonic Wave and just makes it fun to play. The shitty Sonic Wave that came around this time by Real Optigonus is... Does this actually also count as a remake? They did change the decoration and gameplay.
Sure.
It's inspired by the shitty series, which is a trend that takes existing levels and just strips them down to just lay out our default 1.0 blocks. It is quite the level, it's fun to play though. There's also another recent one which looks much nicer. Actually, let me just detour on the shitty series for a bit. This trend series originated sometime in 2.0 and well, of course it would reach the Sonic Wave Remakes territory. There's actually 5 of them from what I found. 2 of them I just mentioned and there are like 3 of generic Wave, Sonic Wave Infinity, and Auditory Breaker. Unbreakability by Hota1991 is it's alright. It's made by the same guy who created Crawn, and overall it's quite amateurish in its composition, and there is a part where it's outside. But it shows it's inspired by Manix and Laser Blitz. Well, really, everyone was inspired by them at the time. It also has an extension and it might be the first released Sonic Wave remake to have such a thing. Correct me if I'm wrong though. Sonic Wave V2, there's actually 2 versions of this on YouTube. It's pretty much impossible to beat, if not just not fun to play. But the one redeeming quality of this level is that it does have random game mode changes in the drop, just like the original. There's also a V3 too by ICICL3, and it's just as impossible, sometimes possible maybe. The Invincible by The Real Sneaky is a black and white Sonic Wave, very much inspired by Sonic Wave Rebirth, and I think that's all I can say about it. It was the first to do it, I'll give it that, and it looks pretty decent. It was also hack verified, and then legitimately verified by HSW. Also, shout out to this guy who's been in so many of these back in 2021 to just now. Techno Sonic by Suako or Cyclic is a level that most of us forgotten, if not didn't even know in the first place. I didn't even know of this too. This was around the time he was involved, especially with C1997. And finally, Sonic Ship. Would you believe me if I said this was one of my top favorite Sonic Wave remakes at the time? It was the first Sonic Wave remake to not take itself really seriously. It has some solid unique decoration for the time, but sometimes it's just... Making the first few parts Wave made it really fun to play though, and the drops being Ship instead of Wave was really refreshing. I liked the last part and the Wave part before the second intermission cube.
So during 2.0, there were more than 10 remakes from what I could tell. It was starting to get popular to remake Sonic Wave because A, it was infamous, and B, everyone was doing it. So what about 2.1? Surely after the verification in 2016, everyone would calm down with Sonic Wave remakes and just be satisfied with leaving it there.
There's even more now. InvisiWave by Sonic is a nearly invisible version of Sonic Wave inspired by the Invisible main level series by lmao. While it being nearly invisible might sound less impressive, don't forget it's still Sonic Wave. He also made Sonic Wave Invert, where it inverts the order of Sonic Wave's wave parts. Okay, it's only just the first and last wave part really. And then Sonic Bath, which is a remake of Sonic Wave that changes all the color triggers to red. And once you pass that, Crack and Sonic Men's parts from Bloodbath make a guest appearance. I'm not sure why Sonic thought of this. It's actually quite hilarious, but the real question is, why does it genuinely sync?
They were thinking ahead.
This Sonic Wave remake by Blast CFB is a level that... well really, I'm just glad I found it to be honest. Not much else to say about it other than being one of the earliest 2.1 remakes of Sonic Wave. Sonic Wave Extreme by MC Style Z, a rapper named Howdy would be proud of, is a 2.0 to 2.1 level that features many unique things. It features checkpoints in normal mode, a music visualizer at the third drop, and the wave blocks are pulsing inwards instead of outwards. I do like this level simply because this is something I would make back in 2016, and it would be fun as hell making it. Fernand Wave and Bolivia Wave are the same thing with different color palette swaps. Yeah, you can imagine Sonic Wave in different colors.
Also, remember Sonic Wave Infinity? Yeah, the level had a glow up. Literally.
Riot approached Zimnight, formerly Zimnor, and AP Team to work on a new version of Sonic Wave Infinity after being impressed by the Apocalyptic trilogy at the time. You can then see some of the progress to remake the level on Zimnight's channel as well as a few other members. This first part showcased on April 11, 2018, and it stuck all the way to the final release. There are a lot of development progress videos, so a lot of the additions and changes have thankfully been documented, and you can still see them today. In fact, progress was really quick in 2018. You can see multiple parts that are in the final release still being built, and the end screen was pretty much done. But it was taking a long while, with the full showcase coming out on December 21, 2019. It was in production for 22 months, and holy crap. It was given extensive feedback by the community for not really looking that polished, especially with some of the transitions. So it was back to the creating stage and came another full showcase, this time actually finalized in June 29th, 2020 and oh my goodness. A lot of creator logos were taken out of their parts, which was most obvious with Zero SR's part. It was fine though since everyone was credited in the really awesome end screen. This might be the longest end screen for a Sonic Wave remake ever. The reason why it took pretty much more than 2 years was performance issues, because not only were they redecorating, they were also implementing a legacy version of the level, which was the one by Vibrant, plus a few buffs, merging every part together without any conflicts and triggers or really anything, and finally optimization. However, the Legacy version isn't actually the original remake by Vibrant. It has some touch-up decoration, which is most visible in the pre-drop, extra structuring, and the space background used for all the wave parts, which has a few extra stars. So it's a slight retouch-up of Sonic Wave Infinity by Vibrant and Riot if you go to Legacy mode, but if you really wanted to, Sonic Wave Infinity by Zim9 and AB Team along with Riot is a 2.1 level that is a remake plus alternative version of Sonic Wave Infinity by Vibrant and Riot made back in 2.9, which is a remake of Sonic Wave by Cyclic in 1.9, which is a remake of Sonic Wave by Cyclic also in 1.9. Which was inspired by 9 Cycles by Zobros. This is one odd family tree. This level has been through so much history. There is an entire documentary of all versions of Sonic Wave Infinity from 2016 to 2021. I didn't even know this version of Vibrant Sonic Wave even existed. But what is this block design? Go check it out if you're interested, because we got 50 other remakes left to dive into. Sonic Wave Infinity would then be remade, but not in a level way. More so an anime way. More particularly fan art of Sonic Wave by Mad Project 6. Now, I'll say what we're all thinking. She's hot and cute. If you weren't thinking that, good for you, but you're missing out. Her clothes really well reflect the decoration style taken in the level, as well as Cosmic Cyclone, which is a sequel to Sonic Wave. The art is overall really well made, and I'm kinda glad something like this exists because it doesn't really have to be too serious. Do you think someone could cosplay as this at an anime convention? They would have to explain what Sonic Wave is to someone, but it is doable.
I'm not doing it.
The other big remakes were in a sort of verification limbo, where they were made to be really hard and the community of players were just trying their best with it, but it was still going to be really rough anyways. But eventually they did come out. Sonic Wave Rebirth came out on April 29, 2021, and Sonic Wave Infinity came out on May 28, 2021. Auditory Breaker came out first. It was verified by Gabs on the 7th of January 2019, so at least 3 to 4 years after their initial debut. But then, there was another big Sonic Wave remake that took the community by storm. A level so infamous that no one even dared to forget about it if they wanted to talk about Sonic Wave and its 80 remakes. That is, Generic Wave by Penito and Nlex. This came out on October 14, 2018, so almost a year earlier than Auditory Breaker, and also at the time where these kinds of levels were just at the peak of their popularity in the featured tab, all thanks to RobTop. But this level actually looks pretty good. Sometimes decent and not very much in the pre-drop, but the intermission cube got pretty much changed by Nlex, and I remember being very confused seeing this for the first time. Did you know that this got rated 7 months later, only because Auditory Breaker got rated earlier for some reason after it was released in 2019? What? Now we've hit the stage of remakes where making it the best thing ever that will set the bar for its legacy isn't really a priority anymore. It's about taking the piss on it. There's an entire feature-length film dedicated to recording all Sonic Wave remakes almost up to June 2022. It's by Twisted Up on YouTube, and this is what we'll be looking through. 58?
Sorry, Zany, I know you put a lot of effort into beating 9, but yeah, you can do the math.
Sonic Decode Infinity by GD Ace, Random Guy 2108, and Godmark is a level that completely redecorates the entire level as Decode by Wreckage. It's really faithful and it genuinely looks really good at times. There is also just Decode, but it's decorated like Sonic Wave 2, and well, yeah, that's a thing. Does this technically count as a remake? Yeah, it does. Sonic Wave Infinity by Chi840 Oken is Sonic Wave V2 but on... I don't really know what it was on, but if it ended up with epilepsy troll faces, then I want to know what it is. I'm gonna find out my pharmacy. It also has VSC, 3 Seconds of Hell, and the 8 Jumps of Hell from Silent Club Step.
Never mind, I don't want to find it anymore.
What's Up Breaker by Zebi is Auditory Breaker, but well, it's WhatsApp. They did change the drop background to be the WhatsApp logo, which is pretty cool. The second intermission part looks really nice with the yellow to green and cyan colors though, but I'm more excited about how WhatsApp will be real in 3, 2, 1. Oh my god.
Hey, nice kitchen.
Yeah, what's that?
You're missing a word. What word?
Peruvian Breaker by Mott GD and Clive is... It's just Auditory Breaker but red. There are 2 Sonic Wave remakes that are themed around eggplants. Eggplant Wave and Sonic Wave Eggplant. This must have been a battle of who gets to name what, or they were so lucky in their level names being different. I have no idea what's going on in this level, but this one looks pretty fine. Only really in the drop. Elsewhere, I think he just gave up. Sonic Lenny, yeah, I don't really know this one. It's 1.9 styled and there's a lot of Lennys. It's actually decently good looking, but this is really not really a remake. It has Vibrant and Cyclic's name in it, and they definitely did not build a part in this from the looks of it. So whatever humor this is I'll eventually get it. Super Sonic Wave is just like Sonic Bath and Sonic Decode. It's Super Sonic but Sonic Wave. The second part might be a bit off-putting if you show it to even veterans. They will ask if that's actually Sonic Wave or not, because I know I did when I first saw it. There is also Ultra Sonic Wave, and you'd think it'd be a remake of Ultra Sonic, but it's actually a remake of Ultra Paracosm.
It's still possible name-wise for an Ultra Sonic and Sonic Wave remake. Just call it Sonic.
Chungus Wave and Chungus Wave Infinity are respectively a layout and a weird remake of Sonic Wave Infinity. One has a really long end screen, maybe even longer than Sonic Wave Infinity's. Sorry Sonic Wave Infinity. As you can tell in the name, it's centered around Big Chungus because someone made a really good mashup of the song that every Chungus Sonic Wave remake is obligated to use. Even in levels that you wouldn't expect to have them, that they just do. What the hell is Chungus Wave X?
Don't tell me this is the 10th one.
There is also a Weed Wave Infinity by Scub and Hippo Sonic Waver, which is a much more detailed version of that, so this is what Sonic Wave Unfunny was on.
Hey, I have a prescription for Weed Wave Infinity.
What? Well, I got back from the pharmacy and they didn't really have that. Instead they just told me you gonna die and printed me this. I don't really get it. This is just the second drop of Sonic Wave by Team Volcanics.
There were still some serious ones though. I'll only briefly mention them because, well, there's also just as many. Muji Wave by StepX and more is a great change of pace for a Sonic Wave remake as it changes the decoration to be more rainbowy with its own style and made gameplay changes with the intermission cue parts and even this wave part which is near original gameplay. I like this one. Playing Hard by Info355 is a neat 2021 homage to all the popular Sonic Wave remakes. It's pretty cool and unique, and I'm surprised Sonic Wave was chosen for this kind of stick, but it makes so much more sense when there's so many popular remakes. It's inspired by Obscuring by Brian1550, which is pretty neat. There is also a shitty version of it. Sonic Wave Nitro by Coffee seems like it was pretty fun to make, being inspired by Quasar by Alan. Sonic Star by Geometry Boss and Noiget X GMD also seems like it was fun to make, this time being inspired by Sonic Wave Rebirth while doing its own thing. It has its own extension which looks like it was quite fun to play as well. Sonic Lock by Zenny XCZ is a what if scenario of Robtop deciding if he wanted to update Deadlocked when he saw Sonic Wave. Turns out, it syncs pretty well. It features its own original gameplay, but there was a lot of effort put into making it good and fitting. He also could have listened to Sonic Blaster while playing Deadlocked and realized he could do the best thing known to man.
This maze didn't prepare me for this one.
Sonic Ocean is a weird extension of Sonic Wave, and it's weird because the extension is its own level. It does have coins in it. What the hell is that ending? There is also an Infinity version of it too. And ID Active Wave has the word hentai in it.
Good word! Wait, what's that? Oh god damn it.
And now let's detour on Sonic Wave's sequel, Cosmic Cyclone. Of course, there is the version by AP Team that we know today, and it takes a lot of Sonic Wave Infinity's decoration styles and revamps it into parts that are more polished. Being a sequel, it has a lot of gameplay cues from the original, and this is really just Sonic Wave 2. This even had its long and troubled history, with Combine uploading a full official preview of the layout on December 1st, 2017. Some of the gameplay here is pretty old. Take a look at the two intermission cubes, they are much more tamer than they are now. This level also had its fair share of remakes too, but what is with it with anything Sonic Wave related and getting so many remakes? Before being decorated by AP Team, there is the old Cosmic Cyclone by Cyclic, Riot and PX Mutant, much like old Sonic Wave. It's weird that there's a parallel even 2 years later. This feels very Forsaken Neon by Zobros with its block design, but I can't lie, the wave decoration is actually pretty cool. It poses the outlines of these 2.0 blocks and it makes for a very spacey yet futuristic level. The intermission cubes are a bit lacking, but it does have the old gameplay for it, so that's pretty neat. There's a version by Ozzy the Dragon which was meant to be a much more traditional take on Cosmic Cyclone. This level was formerly going to be verified by Medius at first, and then Wolfie, and then Sid125, which he could have until Osley just suddenly uploaded the level without any verification. It was then verified by Prototype Hippo, which is just HSW again. It has a tornado effect in the intermission cube, which none of the Cosmic Cyclone levels do, which is a real missed opportunity. Plus the wave parts are pretty varied in their block design, and also references the previous Sonic Wave remakes at the end. Sidtrax or Avery released a Cosmic Cyclone preview on May 1st, 2021, and it looks pretty good. It only shows the wave parts and it seems like it was never released though. And there's technically another version of Ozzy the Dragon's one which looks a bit more cleaned up. I'm not sure how this happened, it is a mega collab. It's also missing a Sonic Wave Rebirth reference at the end, so rip. Finally, there's a 1.9 GDPS version called Cosmic Hurricane by Robotien and more. It remakes Cosmic Cyclone in the 1.9 style and it looks pretty good. This is pretty much the equivalent of Fusion Z and Molten Gear with Manix Fusion series. Every part here looks pretty good and I wish I could show you all the parts to you right now, but I can't, so give it a look after you're done here. It's crazy how remakes, sequels, and even remakes of sequels resulted just from this one level. Also, Sonic Wave on Desmos is a thing. This is more of a recreation than a remake. You could try by saying the visuals look different, but it's still pretty cool though. For the most part at this time, it was remade for something funny. That Sonic Wave by RTX Blue and Gaussian Blurb turned up all the way to God knows how much to create it did. GG Nstrix. And one more final remake, Super Mario Wave by Tomo36 is an actually real Sonic Wave remake. You might not notice it while venturing through its 8 worlds, but it's a bit obvious in what for. I still can't believe this technically counts because it was intended by the creator. You can find the rest of them on this video, so if it's been a long work week and you need a nice free movie to relax on Friday night with someone, well, they may not like it, but at least it's an option. Come on, the movie soundtrack is pretty good at least. It's literally the same song for 2 hours. Speaking of the music, the song is Sonic Blaster by F777, and it's quite a good song. But if you had to listen to it for tens of thousands of attempts over multiple remakes, you would genuinely go insane. So people have taken upon themselves to make mashups of other popular songs because it's not a question of whether you should, it's a question of whether you can. There is a playlist on YouTube dedicated to most of the uploaded and documented mashups. It's quite crazy and talented for all of these creators to put their skills into mashing things I thought should not exist, but did anyways. Chongus Blaster is the most iconic, and it plays very well, much to the agreement of everyone under the video. This is an offensive affront to all typical music artists and reviewers, but in my heart it's one of the best songs to ever grace Geometry Dash. There is a reason there are 3 or more Chongus Wave levels. Sonic Wave Mash with Sugar by Maroon 5 is just as good, and it was used in Zani's Sonic Wave Infinity verification. Now that I watched the verification, the song feels like it's just missing the instrument of Zani's clicks.
What instrument do you play? The G502?
Haifu Hung, or 2 minutes more mash of Sonic Blaster, is one hell of a combination. This would go well as a song used for Sonic Wave Deluxe because her clothes are red. This is also one of the 3 times Vietnamese people and culture are represented in Geometry Dash.
3.5 if you count me being half Viet.
And Sonic Jaggers is another hell of a combination, especially at the start. But have you thought of putting remixes of Sonic Blaster together? Rebirth Wave Infinity mashes HJ Fod's remix of Rebirth Blaster, and it's pretty refreshing. It's an unironic banger. I recommend giving this a listen to yourself if you haven't. There's actually multiple mixes of several remixes, a quad and even a penta mix. There are still a ton of remixes, which is honestly pretty crazy because no other level gets this amount of treatment. Even at the most bare level, players just pitch shift it up or down.
Do you play anything else? The Pink Racer Basilic?
You think that'd be it for Sonic Wave remakes? It's already been verified and beaten so many times, and there's so many of them, and we don't really need more of them. Its legacy has already been solidified and we've just moved on. Turns out, there's still more to this day, even this year. Sonic Wave Unlimited by Z Not Ninja is a level that looks really good with its designs and features an emoticon that... Okay, I'm not really sure what this is doing here, but it's cool. It takes inspiration from so many levels: Solar Flare, Sonic Wave Infinity, Metal Faces levels in general, and Puzzle Trials by Funny Game. It's completely original with gameplay, and there was a ton of effort poured into this project, and even better, it shows me where to click. Thanks man, I appreciate the accessibility, but it feels like this.
You gotta click there, and then you gotta click around here, and then make sure to click around there, and wait, oh fuck, this is a MacBook Air, it doesn't even have touchscreen.
Sonic Wave Eternity by Yo Friday Gamer is a 2-year solid project, and it looks really good and refreshing for a remake. It takes Sonic Wave Infinity's style and revamps it into an entirely new level while still referencing the original Sonic Wave Infinity's decoration. And to tie it all together, it features the original extension in the level as well. While not up to the full extent of the song, it's a cool piece of history that Yo Friday Gamer took well into consideration. There's also another Sonic Wave Eternity by Ruko, but it seems like it's in a work in progress and not much has been done yet. Sonic Wave Infinity by Sarah Fifi and Crashy. It's not even a remake, but since it features the name, I'll just include it for fun. It's a harder rated level that takes on the trend of making a nice level and then completely butchering its level name. In this case, Sonic Wave Infinity. This was the only level out of everything here I could beat. Fixed Wave Infinity by GDG Team is a discontinued Sonic Wave remake, and it sucks because it actually looks neat. Even though it barely resembles Sonic Wave, at least it's not named Sonic Wave Infinity.
Why are the 3 levels named the same thing? It even happened twice!
Redemption by Zest is a remake of Sonic Wave that completely revamps near everything. It's more reminiscent of modern 9 Circles gameplay, but the fact that it keeps it fresh with new styles of decoration is something worth commending. If you've beaten Sonic Wave multiple times, try this one out. I think I'm only talking to 2 people watching this who can actually beat it. And finally, ShockWave by Skyline is a 2.2 remake of Sonic Wave. It's pretty cool and it just does its own thing. While it's kind of inconsistent and sometimes strange and not really my favorite, I respect the dedication to redecorate Sonic Wave in 2.2.
And that's it. I've only talked about 40 to 50, but rest assured there's definitely more than 80 of them. Don't forget this Friday movie night. So what's the deal with there being so many remakes of Sonic Wave? You might think that because it was just so popular to capitalize on, but honestly, I think I got a few different ideas.
Not many creators would try to create for the sake of popularity, and if they did, a lot of these levels would not look as good as they do. So when it came to remaking it, it might have been these reasons. Sonic Wave was as good as 9 Circles in being a template, more specifically as a customizable plan. Much like how there were 10 billion levels that use its style, so too were the 10 billion levels that uses Sonic Wave's structure and gameplay. Each part is pretty distinct from the next, and if you wanted to turn this into a mega collab, then it's almost trivial to segment each part. It was just pretty much already there. The song Sonic Blaster is also just really good. I sat down and listened to it along with its 40 remixes and mashups, and even after all that, it's still hard to get sick of it. It's EDM, but it's very tasteful with its mixing and sounds to create a rave feel that has great pacing. When you're building to a song like this, it sure as hell will be fun to touch up Sonic Wave. And everyone was doing them. I don't mean as in like, oh yeah, let's all collectively remake Sonic Wave for various reasons. I mean as in, wow, he did it and this looks pretty cool. I should try it. And repeat that like 70 times. There's a saying back then with the featured tab in 2.0 and songs that get used over and over. Just because it's overused or overrated doesn't equal it being really bad. I think the people who decided to remake Sonic Wave at first and doing a banger job at it set up the perfect environment for people to view Sonic Wave remakes as a constant in life, much like death, taxes and the G502. I don't think that analogy fully works, but what I'm saying is that we will never escape Sonic Wave remakes because someone will look at all these remakes and think they should try it. And finally, it's just fun to remake it. I'm not particularly sure why, it just is. I remember grabbing a copy of Sonic Wave, added some pads right before the drop for sync, and thought, man, I made it as a creator. Perhaps it's the long legacy that makes it fun to subvert and manipulate into a new thing. It is a product of its time. Or that 1.9 levels had more focus on challenge than sync and making the player move in a smooth way. It might also really feel like a Geometry Dash level, as stupidly abstract as that sounds. Or maybe it's just literally every reason I listed. It probably is, it's never that simple. There may be more reasons, but that's all I've got.
So that was Sonic Wave and its bajillion distinct remakes. It's crazy how we managed to make that many and still decide to make even more. That says a lot about the community we kinda are and the dedication we have. Or we just really like Sonic Wave. Now if you excuse me, I'm gonna beat them all at the same time. I mean, they basically are the same level with very minor changes in gameplay. Only problem is they confiscated my phones.